Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classics, that's known classics. This is episode number 1351 and Doubleshot number 1246. I got two Marvel trades, the second one being the finale of a trade series. This one technically is the pinnacle trade of this writer's run because he's going to be leaving soon. Because his final issue is going to come really soon. Yes. Alright, first up it is Venom, Volume 5, Venom Beyond. This collects issues of Venom Volume, I believe this is Volume 4, issues 26 to 30, and material from Free Comic Day 2020 Spider-Man/Venom. Yep. Now, this is simply put the Venom. This is basically Marvel's take on Batman Beyond in a way. Basically, Eddie Brock informs the Avengers about the coming of Cull, planting seeds for the current King of Black Cross, which has still not been concluded yet. Nope, and they don't immediately believe them, but Captain America seems like he's coming around to it because what Eddie Brock described to him is something of his worst thing they've ever come across. Like, he's scared stiff. And then we see Eddie Brock basically him and Dylan looking for the Maker. They find him, and then all of a sudden they end up through his portal chasing him, and end up in this future world where apparently we have Cull apparently ruling the world in this reality, though it's not actually Cull himself. It's not that guy. Oh no, they will reveal later who it is. Eddie Brock, and this of course is an alternate reality, mind you. Eddie Brock comes across Agent Venom, and of course, like even the reader's probably like, wait, Flash? Is that you? And the person saying, Flash, Eugene Thompson. Oh, Eugene Thompson. And then they move the part of the symbiote. It's Anna Wong, Eddie Brock's late ex-wife and Dylan's mother. You are thinking, what? Well, this is an alternate version of him, of her. Now she does ask, how did you get that symbiote? And this has been the canonical version of how Eddie Brock got the symbiote since Amazing Spider-Man 300, when Tom McFarlane and Dave Mitchell basically helped create this character. He was in a church contemplating suicide, and a Venom symbiote came around on top of him. And in this reality, he did commit suicide. He did die. And Anna Wong became, well, the host of the symbiote. He does bring up the whole thing of she Venom, which that was interesting. And then he has three people behind him. Also got symbiotes, and they basically are subordinates. The first one is Peter Parker with a mustache. That's interesting. The second one being Cletus Cassidy. Like, really? And the third one being Wade Wills, aka Deadpool. And everybody's like, what the heck you do with him? He's a lunatic. He's also a freaking serial killer. He's like, well, not here. He's perfectly fine. Well, it's quite obvious the fact that Eddie Brock doesn't trust him for a good reason. I like the fact they brought it up because that was so cool. Oh yeah, and by the way, calling this world, this guy here, it's actually Dylan. Yes, he goes. Of course, he's the host the Codex because they revealed this during the Absolute Carnage crossover, which good reminder when it comes to that. And they do in fact help defeat the guy, and of course everybody who visits by symbiotes gets freed. Of course, Anna Wong herself, she basically does survive. Dylan, of course, basically is sort of seeing his mother for the first time, and it's a nice ending. Though we have a to be continued in King in Black, which that is an excellent crossover, by the way. I can't wait to review when the train comes out. This is really good. I thoroughly enjoy this. And I'm going to give this book a 10 out of 10 because it's just that damn good. I love the Easter eggs in here. The artwork is fantastic. There's only like 3 artists on here. You have Julian Gooden, Ibn Costello, who does basically 26, with Julian Gooden 28. The last 2 issues are by Luke Ross. All really good artists. The Free Comic Day issue is done by Ryan Stegman, who was the original artist of this run, though he left. I'm not really sure why he left, but he did. Here, of course, there's some Ryan Stegman artwork, which is really, really good. And There's nothing really bad about this artwork. No, it's all really good. I at least got praised the fact that for this series is always known for putting out good artwork. Yeah, none of it bad. No. Like, here's for issue 27. This is from the artist Juan Guiden. Like, look at this artwork. It is so freaking good. Yes. I had a lot of fun reading this thing. It is just so good. Oh, look. Yeah, and here's people on the team, which is so good. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot. Andy's here, too. But she doesn't do much of anything. Yes, Andy. Yes. Andy Benton, a.k.a. the current person who's the host of Scream. Yes. I love this book. It's just so freaking good. I love the series, what Danny Ghost has done. Sad to see the guy go after issue 35, which is going to be the 200th issue of the series. Though the issue itself is going to come right after King in Black basically wraps up. Alright, this side effect. This was good. This next book is just okay at best. And that book is Marvel 2-in-1 Volume 2, Next of Kin. Yes, this is the finale for this particular trade series. This collects Marvel 2-in-1 Volume 2, Issue 7-12, and the annual. The annual is just Thing teamed with infamous Iron Man, aka Dr. Doom, for a mission deal with the Council of Dooms. Yeah, the only thing I gotta say about this book is good is the artwork is so consistently pretty good. Yeah, no bad artwork. It's only just 2 artists in this book, surprisingly. The annual is done by Duncan Savali, and the artwork for the main series is Rama D. Perez. Now, of course, Chip Zdarsky doesn't write this, but the way when you read this compared to the first volume of this trade series, this feels like side stuff, maybe something not very important. It's almost like this book is basically written to be shoved to the side because we have Fantastic Four come back the same time these issues were coming out. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's what happened. Like, basically, you had the awesomeness that was the opening story arc. And here it's like team up missions, you look like looking for Reed, and the last couple issues are okay at best. Like, one teams where Thing teams up with the Actuary Richards. The last issue, he teams up with the Invisible Woman. That's interesting. For like a one-shot issue. Yeah, though basically the first 3 issues, 7 through 9, he does team with the Human Torch. Well, actually, first 4 issues in here he teams up with the Human Torch. The last couple he teams up with Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm. My guess is the reason why Dusky throw these 2 in here as a team up because it's supposed to be a team up book. Teams with a whole bunch of people, but this series, well, oh, by the way, in case you're curious what happened to that woman who was a supporting character in the first 5 issues, she is dropped from the series for no reason. As far as I know, she's not in these issues, but for the issues themselves, it felt like an okay follow-up to the opening story arc of this run. Yes, I'm giving this book roughly a 8.5 out of 10. It's just basically the Thing doing random things. Though it ends up very happy with Thing on top of the current headquarters of Fantastic Four, which is not the Baxter Building. Yes, it's an apartment he owns. Yep. Now, final thoughts on this series. Now, when this series was initially announced in 2017, I think it came out the same time as Marvel Legacy. Now, a lot of people were curious, like, okay, if Marvel going to revive this series, why in the world could it not just basically continue the same numbering from the original series? Nope. Had to put out a new number 1. For like no reason. Yeah, this was on just prior to Marvel Legacy. And instead of, like a lot of our books basically refer to as triple digit numbering. Not this series, apparently. Yes. For some strange reason, we kept to the volume 2 thing. Like, okay, like you could have kept the triple digit, you could have restored triple digit numbering, or acknowledge the fact it had triple digit numbering. Like, if you look up the covers for the original series, there is no Marvel Legacy numbering at all for this series, which I think is quite dumb. That's one fault I have against it. I mean, yes. I mean, if you look at the series, like, it starts off really strong with... If I can get this thing over here. There you go. Like, it starts off really strong with this. This was good. This It's just okay at best. It doesn't feel as though that even though yes, it's basically just fight for survival, but it doesn't feel like that. Despite it being hyped as that, doesn't feel that at all. It seems like a bunch of random things just happened. And it seems though Zdarsky himself basically was just getting, really? Like, I hyped up the Return of Fantastic Four, and you basically treat about my book like this? Yes, I'm sure he probably wanted to get far away with his book as possible because, I'm sure he probably may have liked writing these issues, but it seems though when Fantastic Four comes back, he felt as though there was no reason for the series to exist. Not at all. That's probably the reason the book ended at 12 issues. The Fantastic Four and Dance Live has been really good. Surprisingly, they never actually referenced anything that happened in the series, which I'm like, really? But they don't. Surprisingly, despite the fact this is sort of basically Zdarsky's own Fantastic Four type series, it just seems as though it does just a random team-up series where you have, well, some fights happen here and there. It just feels okay. It's not terrible, but it's okay. That's how I feel about it. Compared to Venom Beyond, which was really good, a storyline I thoroughly enjoyed, this Marvel 2 book is just okay at best. Yes. And that pretty much wraps up Chip Zdarsky's run for the book, which is quite interesting. Because I review a good chunk of the stuff that Chip Zdarsky has written for Marvel. I've done Howard the Duck, Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man. Great series. Had a low-key ending to it, kind of like this one too, for some reason. There's also Star-Lord. Yes, I reviewed Star-Lord. And I'm trying to think, what other books he did for Marvel? Well, he does currently Daredevil, which is a very interesting type series that he does for it. Yes. Oddly enough, he hasn't done a lot of Marvel books. No, not that I can think of, no. Let me look up here about that. Because, Let's see, for Marvel books. Let's see. He hasn't done a lot, per se. No. Here's basically what he came out with. The first thing he did was a story for Original Sins. And then Howard the Duck, and then he did a story for the All New Avengers Annual. Then he did a story for Choosing Sides. A one-shot for Doctor Strange, which I have covered that one. An issue for Not Brian Enoch, which was basically a revived issue. This series, it was Squirrel Girl. I think like the only ones left I can think of that I haven't covered yet by him are Original Sins, Civil War Choosing Sides, Not Brian Enoch, the Marvel Holiday Special, Namor Best Defense, Invaders, Spider-Man Life Story, Doom 2099. There's also Road to Empire, Lord of our Hulkling, and there's a couple books coming out soon. But that's it. I pretty much reviewed a lot of Zdarsky's time at Marvel. All books basically came out were all really good. Like, I think in the case of his run for Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, great series. Yeah, it felt as though his humor actually worked for Spider-Man. And then he does Daredevil where he has to be so super serious. Like, I kind of felt as though that if you read the start, it feels like one of the weaker books he's done. Like, probably the weakest book he's ever done, like, overall. But it does give better time going on for the series. Yeah. Excuse me, but it's strange, though. That's the only book he's worked on that's lasted more than a year. Well, aside from Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man, because it seems as though, like, he doesn't do a lot at Marvel. He's only been at Marvel for about 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. The only series he did recently that was ongoing, aside from Daredevil, was Invaders, which ended 12 issues. I will eventually cover this one. But, yeah. But that's pretty much it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my review of Attack on Titan. And there's going to be an announcement related to that one because I found this news to be interesting. But you'll find out about that when I talk about Attack on Titan, okay? And in the case of my next video, well, I'll probably put it up with where afterwards I'm going to do a comic book history. What is going to be on? The Invaders. Okay? See you next video. Bye.